Hey, reach up there and pull those belts tight. One more time, you're watching the original Rebels Racing League.
Welcome everybody to Talladega Superspeedway. My name's Josh Hall. We're here with the original Rebels Outlaws here on Sunday night for our first of two races in our Sunday night doubleheader. We got about 4.5 minutes left in practice here. I've been watching these guys for a couple minutes now, and we're seeing some real aggressive drafting out of some of these drivers, and a couple of these guys working really, really well together, and a couple of these guys still trying to figure out how to get the proper bump draft out here tonight, but it looks like it's going to be a good one here. Again, thank you for joining us here tonight on Intensity Broadcasting, whether you're watching on YouTube, on Facebook, or Twitch. Don't forget to give us a nice little like and a follow if you haven't already. If you're watching on eRacing TV, we do appreciate you joining us there as well. Not sure what eRacing TV is? Well, it's a free app that you can download for your Fire Stick or your Roku, and you can watch live iRacing 7 nights a week right on the big screen. Also, I've got my chat open, so let me know that you're watching. I already see Stacy Passons out there cheering on and Paul. So I know they'll be cheering on Tracy out there tonight. You see Tracy right here working with Eric Burkhalter. Let's get some different camera views here. A couple little interesting turn of events here in the Outlaw series. Last week's winner, Jason Rockefeller, finally got his first win of the season. And then he is no longer racing in the league. So it's we're going to have a little bit different points battle shaping up here. Travis Bieber finished second. Andrew Kurtz finished third. Corey Hines and AJ Dismarzo, sorry if I said that wrong, round out the top 5 here last week at Chicagoland. As we take a look at our points coming into tonight, and you can see Steve Loving is your current points leader behind Tracy Passons. Michael Kosick sneaking into the top 5 now. Jamie Mullins and Adam Lang have, after the last couple races, really having a consistent run here and moving himself solidly up into the top 5 and looking like a contender to here in the Outlaw series. So we'll have to see how he runs here in the Super Speedway. As we mentioned, practice just about over. We got about a minute and about a minute and a half left in practice here. Not too many cars left on track with practice here. Looks like Eddie Smith and Jonah Kober are the only two here on track. And we're going to see a few drivers. Looks like pulling some double duty here tonight. Usually running the Sunday Night Rebel Series, who are here in the Outlaw Series. No, I take that back. There's nobody here from the Outlaws or the regular Rebels here. This Fry Hubbard's coming out on track with about a minute left. Try to get a little practice out here. Maybe make a practice pit stop. And Talladega is a little more of a unique track than we see. If you've never watched a race here at Talladega, you'll notice that red line, that start-finish line, is just past the tri-oval, which makes it a really exciting finish here. As we've seen a lot of battles through the tri-oval and onto that little short chute between the tri-oval and turn 1 that can really change the dynamics of this race. Long track too, the longest oval on the NASCAR series schedule at 2.66 miles. Nice and cool here tonight, 75 degrees, not a lot of humidity. What that's going to mean is that's going to be a lot of grip for these drivers and a lot of speed. You see Matt Kleeman out there with about 3 seconds left in practice. Probably going to try to make a pit stop practice here, but I don't think he's going to have enough time to get in here. And there's a lot of different mentalities when it comes to qualifying here at the Superspeedway. I know a lot of people like to ride the wall up on their first lap and then ride the yellow line on their second lap. I personally like to ride the high line on my first lap. And then I kind of run a more conventional line on my qualifying lap, right down at the yellow line in the corners and up against the wall on the straightaways. So everybody's got their own little own styles here, and we'll see tonight which qualifying attempt is going to be the best, as Charlie Gates Jr. is one of the first drivers out on track tonight. Again, Matt Geis has some people to look out for in tonight's second race. So we'll have to see if he has any predictions for the first race here. But yeah, I agree. Logan Sturgeon, Josh Lokovitz, Kyle Roberts, Chuck Pegleg Feltz, Chris Heiner, definitely names to watch out for in the second race of our doubleheader tonight. But here in this first race, there'll be a couple names we'll be watching out for, as well as Eddie Smith is always a fast one here in the Outlaws. And if I remember correctly, Adam Lang had some good runs here at Daytona. And we'll have to see. I know James Jones was another. Those Kool-Aid Monster cars were definitely fast here in the opening race at Daytona. So we'll have to see how these guys fare here at Talladega. And you see Charlie doing exactly what I said, right up against the wall here in the corners, right above that top line there. Trying to get that truck wound up as possible. These trucks do have a restrictor plate, which means that the engine is actually restricted of air, which takes away horsepower. So if you can run that high line on that opening couple laps, it really allows the engine to get up to full speed, get wound up, and that's where you're going to find the most speed here. He's going to go right down to the bottom here for his qualifying attempt. You want to get as close to that yellow line without going over it as possible. And you see Charlie holding it down there off the corner. Again, a couple different schools of thought there. I always feel like keeping it down there actually bogs the car coming off the corner like that. But we'll have to see what he does here on his lap for time. Right now, Stephen Loving at the top of the board. And I know Steve is a very accomplished Superspeedway driver. Ran in the Pelican Snowball Superspeedway series that I ran in as well, and always showed good speed and was there at the end. So we'll see what he can do here. See Charlie Gates coming through the tri-oval and across the line again, which is just past the tri-oval. And Charlie Gates Jr. is going to jump to the 5th position. See Joshua Thompson out on track. And this is his first lap, and he's keeping it down on the bottom for both laps here. Matt Kleeman jumps to the top of the board with a 55.93. Steve Loving ran a 55.94. So 1/100th of a second separating those two. Joshua Thompson's coming across for his first lap here. We'll see where he slides into. Going to move up into the 12th position. And again, Superspeedway racing is a bit of an art form. I always think of it like playing chess. You kind of have to think 2 or 3 moves ahead of what you want to do. or else you can get caught up into someone else's mess real easy, or you can go from the front to the back real quick. Just as easy to go from the back to the front as it is the front to the back. As Josh Thompson comes across the line, and he's going to move up into... Actually, he's going to stay right there in the 14th position. As his second lap was actually slower than his first. See Greg Froelich just coming out on track. Greg, another one of those drivers that's really good on super speedways. I expect to see him there at the end. It's also all about having some friends, having some teammates, having people who trust you enough to work with you. Because winning a super speedway race is hard to do on your own. See Froelich running up that higher line, get that truck all wound up. And I see all 14 of you out there watching on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitch. We do appreciate you guys out there joining us here tonight for our first of 2 races here on Intensity Broadcasting in our Sunday night doubleheader. Aaron Tyler Adcock says, "Let's go MS crew." Tracy Passions, Chris McLean, Eric Burkhalter, Eddie Smith. That is a team right there that is going to be one to watch here working together at this super speedway, as Tracy and Eddie are both incredibly fast, as we know. And Greg Froelich is going to move up into the 11th position. Sorry, 21st position. Because Eric Burkhalter just moved up into 11th. So we got about 3 minutes left in qualifying here. And we have 3 cars who haven't taken a lap yet. They might be starting at the back, which sometimes isn't a bad thing here at Talladega, to start in the back and work your way to the front, stay out of trouble. As Greg Froelich comes across the line here. And he's going to move up into... Actually, his second lap was just as fast as his first lap, so running identical times. As we have just about 2 minutes left here in qualifying. Currently, Matt Kleeman is your pole sitter. Steve Loving sitting on the outside. So we'll have to see how those two work together. And who's going to be the ones to really work together, get hooked up, and get going here at Talladega? As being a just over 2.5 miles, it's really easy to get yourself in some trouble and run out of time faster than you think you might. Only 60 laps here, which seems like a lot. It's 150 miles. But those, if you get a green flag run going, those laps can quick off mighty quick, and you can actually kind of forget that you have to make a move, and the race can be almost over, and you realize that you're in trouble because you haven't started trying to make that move. So we've seen a lot of passes here off of turn number 4 for the win at Talladega, both on iRacing and real life, and even some passes right through the tri-oval to get the win. So we're gonna have to see here where that winning move is gonna be, if it's gonna be on the backstretch, if it's gonna be off of turn 4, if it's gonna be through the tri-oval, or is it gonna be right there at the line? So we've seen, again, wild finishes here. I believe the first Rebels race we ran here, they were 4 wide across the line for the finish. So they ran most of the race 3 wide. In our intro video, you see the 3 wide trucks at Talladega. That would be the original Rebels right there in their maiden season here. So they have a lot of history with us here on Intensity, and We're looking to put another one here in the history books with an amazing doubleheader here at Talladega. So, qualifying is just wrapping up. As you can see, about 3 seconds left up there. So, we're getting ready to grid them and go racing here for 60 laps at Talladega Superspeedway. And as always, a couple sponsors here. Whoop. One of them's still up there that wasn't supposed to be. Try that again. There we go. So your grid tonight brought to you by Magic Mike Motorsports. And on pole here, again, Matt Kleeman in that 19 machine with Steve Loving starting to his outside. Row 2 is going to find the 66 of Jamie Mullings and the 61 of Jake the Ironman Ellingson. Row 3 will be Travis Bieber, who had a great run last week. We'll have to see if he continues that here in the 114. And Adam Lang to his outside. Jonah Colbert in the 34, he'll be rolling off 7th with Fry Hubbard in 8th. Then Ryan Huff and Brandon Pollock round out row number 5. Eric Bertalter in the 71, he'll be rolling off 11th with Charlie Gates Jr. to his outside. 13th, Daniel Stewart, and 14th, Andrew Kurtz. Row 8, Eddie Smith in the 87, started a little further back than he'd like, I'm sure. And Mike Barossa Jr. in the 43, his outside. And James Jones, who he knows fast here at the Super Speedways, he'll be in 17th with Joshua Thompson to his outside in the 33. Chris McLean in the 05, he'll be rolling off 19th with Tracy Passons back in 20th. Then Greg Froelich and Jamie Burrell will round out row number 11. Ryan Derrick in the 7 and Michael Kosick in the 04 make up row number 12. Finally, row number 13, we're going to find the 68 of Steve McMillan and the 18 of Michael Swink. I believe we're doing race control tonight, so we should not see them actually on the... Oh, no, they are on the track. So those two decide not to qualify tonight. Ryan Derrick, Michael Swink, Steve McDonald not qualifying. Starting in the rear of the field, and hey, it might not be a bad idea for those guys to get up, stay back there. Stay out of trouble. And work their way up to the front. Shappy Edis says, can't wait to be back racing with the Outlaw Boys next weekend. Been a long few months. Love me some Rebels. Would happy to get more experience. Hey, great to have you back, Kai. We miss having you out on track, but we're getting ready to go green flag racing. The pace truck took that hard left-hand turn on the pit road. Matt Kleeman's going to lead them back down to the starting line here, which is about the middle of the tri-oval here. So we'll see those green lights come up on the screen, and that's how you'll know that we're going racing here at Talladega. There it is. Green flag is out. We are racing, and a great jump for Steve Loving, who's actually going to beat the leader to the starting line. And usually that's a no-no. He might get a black flag for that, as you cannot beat the leader on the initial start. On a restart, it's a different story, but on the actual start of the race, the leader has to be the first one to cross the line as they're rocketing down the backstretch 2 by 2. Jamie Mullins in that 66 machine shoving Matt Kleeman here with a great run. Steve Loving's actually fallen back to the 4th position. I apologize, my sounds are a little louder than I'd like them to be. Now Travis Bieber working that outside line, trying to get his way up there. He's got the nose. But here comes Kleeman back on the bottom with a big push from Jamie Mullins as they come across the line for lap number 2. Travis Bieber is going to lead that one by just a nose. So a great run coming out of that top line. As you see Steve Loving really giving a big shove here to Travis Bieber, as they're still 2 by 2 pretty much all the way back here. And this lead group is really starting to pull away. There's a small breakaway. A little further back, Greg Frodick is the first truck that's leading this second group, who's really not too formed up, so they're going to be in trouble if they don't get single file and get back to the front of the field here. But up front, Matt Cleveland now with that big shove from the 66 of Jamie Mullins back on the bottom side, trying to get the lead back from Travis Bieber, and he's going to have it by just a nose here as they come across the line for lap number 3. So right now with the field 2 by 2, we're not really seeing the energy, which is going to be a big buzzword for me tonight, the energy coming from either lane right now, as both lanes are pretty much even as far as the number of trucks in line, as well as how even they are side by side. Now the bottom side's starting to get that energy working, as we see the 34 of Jonah Kober starting to make his way up to the back bumper of Jamie Mullins. Now you can't push the pusher, but if that third car can just sit right there on that back bumper, he can actually help those front 2 cars tremendously and get that bottom lane working. Now we got one truck that was looking to the third lane and wasn't able to tuck back in line, and now they're in trouble going backwards. And I believe that's the 61 of Jake Ellingson. And now, oh, he gets turned. Ellingson gets turned around into the inside wall. Only car. Oh, we got a couple more cars around here. As Eric Burkhalter was involved in that as well. Jake Ellingson, Ryan Derrick caught up in that. Michael Swink just barely catching the tail end of that. Stephen McDonald, and no caution, so we are still racing. That's going to shake up the field tremendously. As you can see, there's a second group that's way back there. So now that top lane in trouble, as there's a lot less cars on that high side than there is on the bottom, and that's going to stall out that top lane a little bit more. The more trucks that you have in line, the faster that line's going to move. You're seeing a great push there again from Mullins, just staying off that back bumper just enough to propel that truck in front. There's actually a little bubble of air that comes off the front of that truck, and if you can use that bubble to continue to push the truck in front of you forward, which is exactly what you're seeing right now out of that 66 machine. You see Eric Burkhalter coming out of the pits after making heavy contact with the inside wall. But we have a very long race. It's plenty of time if a yellow is to come out for these guys to get back up onto the lead lap. As we see Steve Loving now jumping up to that high side. He's got some help from the 7. I'm sorry, that's the 52 of Adam Lang, and him and Adam, and the 1 now coming into the picture here of Brandon Pollock. So the 3 of them trying to make that high side lane and leave Travis Bieber sandwiched there on the middle lane. Right now, looks like that high lane just is not able to get any momentum going, and they're actually losing some time as we see Pollock jumps down now to the bottom. Sorry, that's not Pollock. That is the 09 of Daniel Stewart jumps to the bottom there. We see that 73 of Ryan Huff now use a little side draft to get himself moving forward. He's in front of Travis Bieber. Here comes Travis and Adam Lang. And now they're going to work together in that middle lane, see if they can get something going back up to the front. While we've been, this has been going on, Joshua Thompson, Jake Ellingson, both have come to the pits to get their damage repaired. As we see one car coming off a pit lane right now. I believe that's, yep, that's Joshua Thompson coming off a pit lane right now. And now that top lane's starting to get a little bit of momentum working back up on that high side. Eddie Smith is now on pit lane. Also involved in that, getting some damage fixed from his incident in that earlier wreck. We see no one really getting formed up here. No real line really making a statement here, as everybody's just trying to feel each other out. With a small group like that, it's okay to do a little further back. You see Charlie Gates leading this line, and these guys are finally getting single file. They were running too wide a few moments ago, but now they're starting to get single file. And I feel like if these guys can stay single file and not try to race each other, they'll be able to claw themselves back up to the front here and try to catch that front group. They're 5 seconds behind. But if they can stay in line, they could probably make something happen and get themselves back up to the front. And Ryan Huff having some issues here. We see him. So, oh, yeah, I went around. No caution. Well, one truck having some issues there, went around, but got straight. And the field is really spread out as the yellow flag is now out. And that's going to bring up our first Kinder Farm and Ranch Wreckage Rewind. Let's see if we can see what happened here to bring this one out, as we see Ryan Huff having some issues here in that 73. He was being pushed on that high side. So he was the first car up on the high side there, trying to get something going. And oh, just a bad bump draft there, and Bieber involved, Steve Loving involved as well. And then that second group comes in, and Huff is trying to get going again and almost comes up in front of the field. So that's what happened to bring the yellow flag out. Let's see if we can see what happened a little bit earlier in the race. See Ellingson up on that high side, and he gets turned around, comes back across the track. While that's going on, we see a couple more cars involved. See what happened to Burkhalter's point of view here. We see Ellingson go. Oh, Burkhalter got tagged as Ellingson was coming across, catches Josh Thompson. Wow, great save there. I'm really not sure who that was, but that was a fantastic save. I'm going to rewind this just a little bit as we try to figure out who that was here. You see that blue and pink car at the bottom of the screen there. That is the 74 of Jeremy Barol, doing a great job getting through that, and got a little bit of front end damage to that truck from running in the back of somebody. But let's ride along with him real fast so you can see just what this looks like in real time. Oh, I thought I had there it is, roof cam view here. And this is real time, so you can see just how fast it happens here. Does a great job getting himself back and keeping himself in contention. So as the caution comes out, we're working lap number 12. Jonah Colbert stays out now and retains the lead, with Matt Kleeman sitting in second. Your top 6 trucks did not pit. That's Jonah Colbert, Matt Kleeman, Fry Hubbard, Adam Lang, Andy Kurtz, Mike Bertosa Jr. all staying out on track here. And I'm sure they're going to be hoping for another yellow here so they don't have to pit under green. One nice thing that iRacing has done for everybody here, especially around these super speedways, is allowing the admins to have shorter yellow flags here. So I believe we should be seeing the one to go this time by, so we can get back racing as quick as possible. We'll have to see which lane Jonah chooses here. Just going to see who's behind him and which row is going to be the best advantage for him on this restart. And it looks like the lights on the pace truck are off, and he is going to choose the bottom lane to have Fry Hubbard right behind him for the push. So Jonah Colbert and Matt Kleeman will be side by side for the restart here, with Fry Hubbard giving the shove to Jonah and Adam Lang going to be giving the big shove to Matt Kleeman here when we go back green flag racing. Again, don't forget to join us after this one here for our second race in our doubleheader here at Talladega, as the original Rebels Truck Series will be taking on Talladega for another 60 laps, so it'll be another exciting one. Then tomorrow we've got the Extreme Forces Street Stocks going off at 9:30 Eastern Time. Got Joe and Dave with the call on that one. Tomorrow night they'll be taking on Kansas in the ARCA's car, They switch between the street stocks, the modifieds, and the ARCAs. So they'll be taking on Kansas in the ARCAs tomorrow. So check that out. Tuesday, we do have the finale of the SESRA Dirt Late Model Series, which I thought was the final race last week, but they did add Knoxville. So they will be finishing up this week at Knoxville and crowning a champion. If you've been following that one, you know that Scott Fritz has been dominating that series and pretty much only has to show up to win the championship this week. And then following that, we'll have the Extreme Forces Next Gen Cup Series. So don't forget to tune in for that here as the pace truck has taken its left-hand turn on the pit road. Jonah Colbert's going to lead him back down to the restart zone, and he can restart whatever he'd like here. He does not have to wait for the green flag, but it looks like he's going to lead him down a little bit. Kleeman really laying back on this start here, trying to get the jump. There we go. Green flag is back in the air. And Kleeman was trying to time that just right, but unfortunately, Adam Lang was so far behind him that Jonah and Fry were able to hook up together and get going. So, and now we see the 48 of Kurtz coming into the picture. He's going to look up to the high side. He's going to look for the push here from Kleeman, as now we've got those 3 trucks hooked up on the high side. That's going to kill Kleeman's momentum, as he's got to wait for the 48 to get to the right speed where he can get to his back bumper. As they come off of turn number 4, now you can see that high lane really starting to struggle. We got Greg Froelich up on the third lane. Nobody helping him, but he's making some moves up there. And now Kleeman was looking up to that third lane. Wasn't able to make it work. Now Fry Hubbard giving the big push in the 05. With Chris McLean now on the high side. Chris having a great run out of nowhere. Is just starting to... Haven't talked about him at all this race. And now he's right up there battling for the lead. We see one car pull down to the bottom onto the apron. Didn't like what he was seeing up in front of him, so he's going to pull down. But now McLean has the lead. Was clear of Colbert, but he ended up staying up there. Now Colbert with the big push for Fry Hubbard. Getting back into the lead as they come off of turn number 4. We'll see that momentum. Which way is it shifting right now? It's the bottom lane that's got all the energy as Brendan Pollock on that low lane trying to propel those two front cars forward. But Andy Kurtz now with the big shove. Back on the 05 of Chris McLean. Little side draft. You see him get right down on the side of the truck below him. Trying to dump all that air onto the back spoiler so he can slow them down and drag them forward, and it works. You see Chris McLean reassumes the lead now, and he's clear. He's going to dive down the bottom. He's going to leave Andy Kurtz out there by himself. Now Kurtz starting to get a big shove here from the 19 of Matt Kleeman. They work their way through the short chute between turns 4 and the tri-oval. And McLean having the run here as Kleeman jumps to the high side. And they're going to stick Kurtz in that sucker hole in the middle. Is anybody going to drop in there and try to help him out? Now Kleeman's going to drop down to the bottom. Leave Adam Lang by himself up there. Now he tries to go back up there. Lang gets a lift. And oh, we got a little contact there between Lane and Kleeman. And the checkup allows Kurtz to get back up in front there. We see a lot of patience right now as there's a couple drivers that could have jumped out into that middle lane, but decided not to. And we see Fry Hubbard now jumps up in front of Kurtz. And Hubbard's going to try to take the lead back from McLean. And Kurt's able to clear McLean as well, so those two run right up to the front. And that's a good job by those two being able to clear the leader and get them both down there into that bottom lane. A lot of movement as we see one truck stuck in the sucker hole now as Kleeman and Lang really not able to get a good push going here. They're starting to fall backwards. See the 43 of Mike Bertosa Jr. starting to make his way up into the battle here. Another name we haven't really talked about tonight, but is coming on strong here. Now Adam Lang pushes Kleeman to the lead, then dumps him behind. And now Kleeman's going to lose a ton of time being up there with no push as Bertosa now starting to give the shove. And Bertosa all over the back bumper of Kleeman. You see Greg Froelich now right behind Jimmy Barrault trying to make something happen. But right now the bottom line has all the energy as Adam Lang has moved himself up to the lead and is trying to stay up there. Because right now the whole field is really together right now. No real separation. See a little separation between the 1 and the 55 there, but as they come down into turn number 1, you can see just how much better that bottom lane is formed up right now. And because there's not a lot of gaps there between the trucks in that bottom lane, that's why that energy is really starting to happen on that bottom side. As we see one truck jump up in front of Kleeman trying to get himself up to the front here. That's the 74. I'm sorry. That's the 05 of McLean trying to get himself back up to the front here. As now McLean's got the run here with some help from Kleeman. So we see a little further back in the pack. This is what a traffic jam at 190 miles an hour looks like as we're riding along with Brendan Pollock. And you can see Pollock just really nowheres to go right now. He's got trucks in front of him, trucks to the side of him, trucks behind him. And just not able to make anything happen as we see Bertosa right there to his outside, trying to push down, try to side draft a little bit to make that run happen. And you really hear that truck, him lifting quite a bit there. As you see in the bottom right hand corner, the speeds these drivers are obtaining right now. You see Bertosa now starting to work his way by, and now Jeremy Baralt to the high side. Thought about making a move up to the middle, but wasn't going to work. Again, more lifting out of that one truck as Greg Froenick's now got his way just ahead, and that high lane just really not able to go anywhere. But we have a change for the lead as Chris McLean has taken over the lead, and you can hear that checkup on that bottom lane as those two trucks there make their way down to the bottom. And check up that high side, or check up that low side, excuse me. Now Adam Lang on the high side trying to take over the lead here as they come through turns 1 and 2, but Lang just does not have the push from Kleeman that he was hoping to have as they come down the backstretch. Now Fry Hubbard up to the high side. He's going to try to use that momentum of the high side to get himself up into the lead. McLean's getting a huge shove from the 48. Saw something you really don't want to see there, though, as we saw the 48 almost pushing on the right side of that bumper. If you're going to push, you want to be square right on that bumper, as square as possible. A little bit to the left or a little bit to the right could spell disaster. As Greg Froenick now gets shoved up into that third lane. And nobody goes with him. I thought someone was going to try to make that third high lane, really high lane, come together, but it doesn't look like that's going to happen. At least not yet. As we're just a few laps from halfway. And a couple big names who I'm surprised to see aren't running up here at the front. Like Tracy Parsons currently running in 15th. Steve Loving currently sitting in 21st. As we take a look at Steve Loving here, almost falling off the lead pack here, and you can see just how far back he is from the leaders, and that's almost a helpless feeling to be in right there, being so far back. Oh, we got one around. Bertosa around. That's the big one. Is Froenick's involved? Pollock is involved. Jeremy Brault is involved in this as well. I see Josh Thompson just sneaking through there. Who else is that? It's the I think it was Eric Burkhalter. Yep, Burkhalter involved in that as well. And that's going to bring up another Kinder Farm and Ranch Wreckage Rewind. So we kind of see what happened here. To Bertosa to bring out this yellow flag as we're going to go slow motion here. Oh, Kleeman Gets turned by Bertosa down into the one of Pollock. There goes Brault getting collected. Burkhalter collected. Froelich just nowheres to go. Ryan Huff involved in this as well. Passon's able to sneak through it. So a huge move for Tracy to get through this one here. And then Steve Loving way back in the back, doing a good job staying out of it to keep himself nice and clean. We're going to ride along with Passons here to see the move that he's able to pull to get himself around this. As soon as I can find him here on my board. There he is. And it just happens so fast, and he's able to drive right on through it. And you see Burkhalter having a little more issues out there. Now everybody's coming down the pit road. Chris McLean's going to lead him down here on the pit road. And he's going to be down and away as more trucks are coming on the pit road. He's able to get down. Looks like a fuel-only stop for the 05. And Kleeman getting a lot of damage fixed up as he was involved in that incident. You see Steve Loving right behind getting tires put on that truck. He's down and away. So tough break for Matt Kleeman, who was our pole sitter. But Chris McLean is going to be your leader off of pit road with Jonah Colbert coming out in second. Andy Kurtz coming out in third place. Fry Hubbard coming off pit lane in fourth. Adam Lang in fifth. Tracy Passons having a huge pit stop there. Looks like he took fuel only. Yeah, another fuel only stop. Gets himself up to sixth. James Jones in the 10. He's going to be in seventh. Eddie Smith in eighth. Michael Kosick and Michael Swink. Excuse me, round out your top 10. Chris Reese says, let's go Colbert, Smith, and Loving. Well, Colbert currently in second, Eddie Smith in eighth, and Loving was way back in the pack. Let's see where he's sitting now. He's moved himself into 11th, so he should be making a big charge up here as we're going to be coming to halfway momentarily. Again, if you're just joining us, we do thank you for coming out tonight. As we see Steve Loving going in to top off, so he's going to go back to the back of the field again. I want to thank you for joining us here on the first of two races here on Intensity Broadcasting with the Original Rebels Outlaw Series, followed by the Original Rebels Sunday Night Truck Series here at Talladega. If you're just tuning in, we saw two big wrecks so far. The first one did not bring out a caution. And that one involved Eric Burkhalter, Ryan Huff, Joshua Thompson involved in the first one. Again, it did not bring out a yellow. Then we saw the big one just happen there, involving Matt Kleeman and a bunch more trucks as Kleeman got turned right in front of the field. But now we're getting ready to go back green flag racing as they're re-racked, restacked, getting ready to refire here at Talladega with Chris McLean going to be your leader, restarting on the bottom. Again, I always say it, but I'll say it again. Don't forget to like, follow, and subscribe. And let us know who you're cheering for tonight. I got the chat open. I can see you on Facebook, on YouTube, on Twitch. We got 2 watching on Twitch, 8 on YouTube, 8 on Facebook. So let us know who you're pulling for tonight. Have a little fan interaction here. So we're getting ready to go back. Green flag racing. Chris McLean again on the inside. He's going to be having the push here from the 48 of Andy Kurtz. Jonah Colbert on the outside with Fry Hubbard. Fry being a great pusher here tonight. We've seen him already being able to shove trucks right up to the front. So he's going to have a great push here on Jonah Colbert. Oh, we got some issues in the back as the pace truck is pulling off. Chris McLean leads him back down to the restart zone. Green flag is in the air. We're back racing here at Talladega, and a pretty even start for the front two. McLean and Colbert side by side as they come down into turn number 1. Kurtz and Hubbard doing all they can with some great pushing. Here comes Lang. And now Stacy passes. Oh! McLean gets turned around. More contact up front between, looked like Adam Lang. That's going to allow Fry Hubbard to take the lead, but Hubbard way out front. As we're going to take a look here from the blimp. Hubbard with that big of a lead with the pack behind him, that is not what he wants. As once these trucks get back up to speed and back in line. Although we got some 3-wide racing here. Great view from the blimp of everything going on. Hubbard's going to be in a lot of trouble right now. As we see Tracy Passions moving up into second place. And as Tracy catches that sniff of a draft off that 14, he's got Matt Kleeman. They're getting a big shove now, and they're going to go right around Fry Hubbard like he's going backwards. And Hubbard's going to lose a ton of positions. He might fall to the very, very, very back of this pack. He's trying to tuck back in line, but nobody's going to let him back in. So Fry Hubbard, who was just leading the race, is now back into 11th position, and it's just how fast things can happen here at Talladega. Just a blink of the eye, and you can go from first to last. Real quick in the chat while everybody's single file, we got Josh Anderson saying James Jones for the win. Scott Adcock says let's get to the front, Tracy Passions. And Mama Ellingson says my pick is out, so I'll take either Jonah or Eddie Smith. As they come off of turn number 2, now Fry Hubbard's got some help. He's got the 33 of Joshua Thompson hooked up to his back bumper. And we see a great push from Kleeman. Oh, he slides up the track just a little bit, and that's a bit scary when you're pushing on that right side of the bumper. It's really easy to get that truck out of shape while you're trying to push them. Right now, the top 5 nose to tail. We see that third lane starting to move as Jeremy Baralt now jumped up in front of Fry Hubbard. And now Joshua Thompson, Fry Hubbard, and Jeremy Baralt up on that high side trying to make things happen as they got a head of steam. And they're going to try to battle for the lead here, those 3 trucks. They are lined up. They've got the energy, and they're moving forward. As looks like James Jones jumps up to the top side to join them. Here comes Greg Fronick up into the mix as well. Fronick is a lap down currently. So he's just trying to race his way back up to the front and stay in the lucky dog position in case we get another wreck here. But Tracy Parsons up to the front now with a battle side by side with Jerry Burrell. Burrell gets the lead here. Did lead that lap, and they are side by side into turns 1 and 2. And you can actually see right now just how much better that high lane is hooked up. You can see the big run coming from that high side is Josh Thompson sitting right off the back bumper of Fry Hubbard, not touching him, as you can't push the pusher. But Hubbard doing everything he can to try to shove that 74 back in line. And oh, Lang gets a bit loose back here. He got a little bit of bump and a little out of shape, and able to hold on to it though. Now Burrell almost clears Parsons coming off of turn number 2. Parsons is fighting back on the bottom with the big push from Kleeman as they're still side by side for the lead. And now Parsons got that big momentum on the bottom. As that top lane looks like they're losing a bit of momentum. Again, we see the lapper of Greg Froelich sitting right there. 4th place on the bottom line. He's currently running in 21st. He is the first truck 1 lap down. And he's just trying to stay in a position where if the yellow was to come out, he'd get the lucky dog. He'd be able to get back around and contend here for the win. Also, it's really smart to do this as we see Fry Hubbard and Jamie Burrell get up to the lead. A little sloppy exchange there for the lead, but they were able to make it work. But Froenich's doing something smart that I like to do personally when I'm running races. And he's staying up there and he's trying to help out who he can. Because he's showing that he can help. And if he can get back on the lead lap, he can show that he can be an asset to another truck out there. So smart racing and smart work there from the 11 of Greg Froelich. As Jamie Mullins all the way up at the wall now, he's been passed by Greg Froelich, so Greg's still in the lucky dog position. But Jamie Mullins is trying to do what he can to get back up there and race him for it. As the field is catching a little more lap traffic now, Kleeman's going to jump up that high side, up in front of Joshua Thompson. We see Parsons really off the back bumper of Fry Hubbard. That momentum's going to be lost. All the energy is going to go back up to that high lane as they're doing the best job pushing. Froelich pushes up just a little bit to side draft here. As the field is coming up on the back of Kober, and Jonah's going to stay down on the bottom here. Let the field by. As the field's working past the 73 of Ryan Huff, who's a few laps down now. Kleeman's got that run on the high side working. As they go around the 48 of Andy Kurtz. So a lot of our front runners right now, or front runners early, I should say, all going a lap down. As they come across the line this time, we're going to have just 23 laps to go here at Talladega to settle it. And right now, Brault's up there in the catbird seat, up in the lead. But with these trucks, that is not the place that you really want to be. It's really easy for the help behind you to jump out of line and shuffle you right back to the back. Or we could even see a daring move out of someone like the 53 of Passons. As that top lane pushes up, he can easily shove it in there 3 wide. Try to get himself back up to the front. Although with a lot of drivers having trouble tonight, I'm sure he's just thinking about points here. As Steve Loving sitting back in the 11th position. He is the first car in the second group, as now Kleeman gets stuck in that sucker hole, and he's going to go back to the back of the line. He has nobody to help him there in that middle lane. Now he's going to tuck down all the way to the bottom behind the 04. And Joshua Thompson and Adam Lang are trying to make their way up to the front. Right now, Baralt just kind of hanging out there in the front. Everybody being a little mild right now, taking their time, staying out of trouble. It's too early to make a move now. You make a move now, you can easily lose that position and get shuffled all the way to the back, which would put yourself in an even worse position. You see Steve Loving leading this second group back here. Travis Baber, Chris McLean, Daniel Stewart, Brandon Pollock, Steve McDonald, all drivers we saw. Actually, Steve's a little further back, so Brandon Pollock is the last truck in this second group. As you can see just how far ahead that first group is. You can't even see them on Steve Loving's screen right now, out of his windshield. As you can see, the lead pack is now going into turn number 1. And Steve Loving is just about to come past the start-finish line. So that's what 10 seconds looks like on the track. As we got a battle going on back up front here. Joshua Thompson and Jeremy Barola switched lanes here. Thompson down on the bottom. He's going to take over the lead. Baralt's going to get shuffled up on the high side. He's going to fall back quite a bit. Now the question is Tracy going to jump up to that high side? He is not, as Baralt's going to get the momentum now working here, as Adam Lang's giving him a huge shove through the tri-oval. 20 laps to go here. 19 laps to go now as they cross the line. And they continue to run side by side for the lead. See the Lieutenant James Jones now sneaking into the picture. He's got a lot of front end damage on that truck. But he's trying to make his way back up to the front here and see if he can make something work, as now Barol's going to go and get shuffled out on that high lane. Adam Lang's going to move up around. And Adam's going to get the big shove now from the Lieutenant James Jones. It's kind of surprising to see Tracy not jumping up to that high side, trying to get himself back up into contention. But with 18 laps to go, a lot could happen. As 18 laps here at Talladega can feel like an eternity. Charlie Gates Jr. was on and off a pit road. Now Passons is clear of that high lane. We'll have to see if he tries to make the jump up there. If he's going to be content here sitting back in third. Again, either way, a great points day, as his rival Steve Loving right now is over 10 seconds off the pack. As his pack is starting to get single file up here, they're going to start pulling away from that second group. Now the field's starting to get single file here. Who's going to be the first truck to make the move to the outside? And trying to take the lead back. As they're coming up on the lap truck of Andy Kurtz. Kurtz is going to stay down on the bottom here on the apron. Allow the field to pass him easily. Couple chats I'm going to take real quick. I see Stacy Passons cheering on Tracy out there. Along with Amber Adcock Bell says, "Win it, Uncle Tracy. Let's go 53." And Laura Lynn says, Fronick. Fronick's currently fifth truck on track. He is a lap down. Hoping for a yellow to come out so he can get himself back onto... Oh, no. Fronick is pitting right now. So he's going to give up that lucky dog position to go in and pit. Which tells me that I don't think some of these trucks have enough fuel to make it to the end. Trucks that came in on lap number 26. Yeah, a lot of trucks out there right now. I don't think anybody's got enough fuel to make it to the end of the race. Yeah, these trucks can go about 32 laps on fuel. Between 32 and 35 laps, depending on how you're running in the draft. If you're leading, you're going to be burning a lot more fuel than if you're sitting fifth or sixth in position. So I think that's why we're starting to see the single file is for fuel. As Greg Fronick has come on and off pit road. He's going to be going another lap down there as the field goes right on by. So I imagine in the next couple laps, we're going to start seeing some more drivers dipping down on the pit road. Currently, we've got Travis Bieber and Brandon Pollock on pit road. Doesn't look like we had any takers that time by, as we're going to have just 13 laps to go now. Actually, Travis and Brandon had some damage. They're still on pit road. They've been on pit road for over a minute now. As the laps wind down, I'm going to be really curious to see when these guys pit. If anybody's saved enough to not have to pit. Again, no takers that time on the pit road. See Greg Fronick in the 11 all by himself up there on that high side. Starting to tempt a couple drivers to move up there. As the pace has really dropped on this group here. They're trying to save as much fuel as they can to get to the end of the race. They work around the 55 truck of Charlie Gates Jr. You see the 43 of Petosa just blew up there as the field was going by. Now we see another truck up on the high side there behind Fronek. That is the 10 of James Jones. So Jones is trying to use the lap truck here to move himself up forward. And that is not what the leaders want to see, is having another truck for the challenge, as Thompson's going to jump up to the high side and let Fry Hubbard down to the bottom. Oh, 3 wide back here is James Jones got down underneath Fronek there, and they're 3 wide. Now back to 2 wide. Again, no takers on the pit road. So we're going to have just 10 laps to go now. Oh, contact between Jones and Fronek. Everybody able to keep going forward, though. As Thompson now stuck on that high side all by himself, as nobody going with him. He's going to try to get, nope. He was going to try to get down in front of Kleeman, but Kleeman wasn't having it. Now he's going to be able to get down in front of Kleeman. Kleeman's going to let him in. Tracy Paston's up into the 2nd position. So they're going around Ryan Huff again, staying up there on that high side, out of the way. Again, everybody here in this pack, last pit on lap number 26. Couple drivers such as Steve Loving, Steve McDonald, they pit on lap 27. They are currently 16 seconds behind this pack. And they are running much slower lap times than this group up in front, so they're saving a little bit of fuel. I think that might be their strategy right now, is to save some fuel to make it to the end. As Fry Hubbard continues to lead, and being that lead driver, he's burning the most fuel of anybody else out there. Oh, Fronek gets turned around. Lang gets turned around. That's going to bring out the yellow. Caution is out. Folks, this changes everything. And that's going to bring up another Kinder Farm and Ranch Wreckage Rewind, as we see what happened to Fronek here in the back. And we're going to take a look here from the chopper here to see exactly what happened to Fronek. It's going to give us the best view here. We see Fronek up on that high side. Oh, James Jones just comes up and left rears Fronek, who gets into Adam Lang. We see the 52 machine of Lang gets spun back up the track across in front of everybody. Fortunately, everybody's able to avoid the 52. But that's enough to bring the caution out here. And I don't know exactly what caused James Jones to get up into Fronek like that, but tough break for both Fronek and Adam Lang there. So Fry Hubbard is your leader. He's picked up the pace truck. It looks like we're going to be restarting here with about 5 laps to go after we settle everything in. And I believe we might see some trucks hit pit road right here. See Fry Hubbard staying out. Tracy Passion staying out. Looks like James Jones and Jerry Baralt, Adam Lang, Greg Fronek all hitting pit road. Now, because of the short pit rule, everybody can come down and pit on the first time by. So we don't have to wait for the second time by for lap down trucks to go into pit road. So that's why you saw some of the lap trucks going in at the same time. So again, Fry Hubbard will be your leader here. Tracy Paston's going to be restarting in second, and a little bit of a problem back there. I think Tracy wasn't able to get the truck refired there. Able to keep it going now. Again, don't forget about our schedule coming up. Tonight we have another Original Rebels race. Sunday night trucks here at Talladega on Intensity Broadcasting. Tomorrow night we'll have the Extreme Forces Monday Night Mayhem League, as they will be having the ARCA cars at Kansas for 60 laps. Tuesday, we'll have our final race of the SESRA Dirt Late Model Series, where Scott Fritz basically just has to show up to win the championship. They'll be running at Knoxville, followed by the Extreme Forces Racing League Tuesday Night Tussle Next Gen Cup Series. And they will be going off from Auto Club Speedway. Wednesday, we'll have the SCSRA Xfinity Series. They're going to be starting their season at Daytona. Tune in for that. We have Atlee Hatman Weiss and Dylan Redding with the call on that one. Before that, though, you'll have the LLS Late Model Series going off. So Atlee held the call for that one, so check that out. Thursday, we've got the Thunderstruck Late Model Series. Friday, the Original Rebels Xfinity Series. And Saturday, you have the Original Rebels Send It Cup Series. So, an exciting week of racing coming up. We got our full schedule back in swing. So don't forget to join us 7 nights a week for live racing here on Intensity Broadcasting from iRacing. So Fry Hubbard will be your leader. He's going to choose the inside. Tracy Paston's out on the outside. Michael Kosick right behind Fry Hubbard. And then Joshua Thompson behind Tracy. And from what I've seen all race long, Joshua Thompson is a great pusher. He's been able to push a couple of trucks up to the lead here. And I'm sure Tracy Paston's excited to see him behind, as I think that might be the race-winning move for Tracy, is having a good starter, or a good pusher right behind him. So we cross the line here and take the green flag. We'll have just 4 laps to go to settle it all. So here we go, getting ready to re-rack, restack, refire. A couple names back up into the mix of things. Steve Loving sitting back in 8th. Adam Lang is going to restart 10th. Chris McLean in 11th. James Jones in 12th. Jamie Mullins in 14th. So a couple drivers. And Eddie Smith, don't count him out. He'll be restarting 6th. Matt Kleeman in 5th. So some drivers who had some troubles earlier on in the race have made their way back up into contention here. This yellow flag really helped them out as the pace trucks get ready to take that hard left-hand turn on the pit road. Fry Hubbard's going to lead them back down to the restart zone. Yet Hubbard can go whenever he wants now that the pace truck is off of the racing surface. He waits quite a bit before he hits that loud pedal. Green flag's back in the air. We are back racing here at Talladega. And it's a pretty even drag race side by side for the lead going into turn number 1. But Fry Hubbard's going to have the advantage on that low side. But Tracy Passes is getting a big push now for Joshua Thompson and Eddie Smith back there. As we got one truck way up on the high side trying to make something happen. That's the 05 of McLean up there all by himself up in the third lane with no help. And if he had some help, he might be forced to reckon with here. But with nobody to help him, that truck's just going to stall out up on the high side. And if I was in Steve Loving's position, I would jump up there with him and try to help him because you've got nothing to lose sitting back where he's at right now in 6th. 3 laps ago as they cross the line, and now we've got Josh Thompson and Eddie Smith up trying to make that third lane work. As Tracy Paston's been pushed to the lead, got around Fry Hubbard. And now Hubbard's going to push Tracy down the backstretch. Oh, a little out of shape as Kleeman gets shuffled down onto the apron. They're 3 wide, and they're going to have to let him back up, or that could be a mess. Now we've got 3 wide for the lead. Eddie Smith up on that third lane, trying to get around Josh Thompson, stuck in the middle. Fry Hubbard down on the bottom there, 3 wide off of turn number 4. Coming down to the drive for 2 to go. Eddie Smith with a big shove here from Adam Lang. Oh, he gets up into the wall. They're turned around. Yellow flag is out. A big one here. As they were 3 wide. Oh, Adam Lang goes for a wild ride down the front stretch. He's still flipping back on his wheels, and he's going to be able to get moving, but man, a tough break. It's going to bring out the Kinder Farm and Ranch Wreckage Rewind as we can see what exactly happened. And we talked about it earlier in the race, just a little bad bump and what it can do. We see Adam Lang up on the high side, trying to give a big shove to Eddie Smith, and you see he's just not even with Eddie as they make that turn into the tribal. It sends Eddie down the hill. Lang has nothing he can do. He's up to the outside. Eddie Smith comes back up. The two of them make contact. They're up into the wall. They come down into McLean, who catches Steve Loving. Steve's going to, actually it looks like Steve's going to continue on. He's going to be able to save it there. Adam Lang with the hard impact Kleeman gets in him as well. Comes back up the track into the wall and gets caught between him and McLean. Goes over once, twice, 3 times, 4, 5 times and back on the wheels. Pace truck drives right through him and he's able to get back rolling, but a tough break for Adam Lang, who is having such a great run. Looked like he was going to get himself back up into the lead there. And a bad bump ruins his night there as, again, yellow flag is still out. We're going to go into overtime here. We're going to have our first green-white checker attempt. It'll be much the same as we saw earlier with Fry Hubbard. Oh, I'm sorry, Joshua Thompson is going to be your leader. Tracy Passions to the outside. Something just happened to Fry. I'm not really sure what just happened to Fry. Is he's on the backstretch. Oh, they're slowing down, waiting for the pace truck to come around. Yep, that's what's going on. See if we can figure this out. So Tracy Passes is going to be your leader. Joshua Thompson is going to be in second place, I believe. Or is it going to be Fry Hubbard? No, it's going to be Fry. So they're still... I'm going to give it a second for everything to cycle out and everybody getting into position here. All right, now we got the running order straightened out here. So Tracy Passons will be your leader for the restart here, with Fry Hubbard to his outside. Joshua Thompson will be restarting in third, as a bunch of trucks just came down pit road. McLean and Lang just came down pit road. I believe they're coming to get some damage fixed. Michael Kostic will be restarting behind Fry Hubbard in fourth. So it'll be the exact opposite to what we saw in our last restart. Steve Loving up into fifth, and after having a wild ride, able to keep it off the wall and stay up there in fifth. Sixth is going to be Jamie Burrell, Matt Kleeman, Steve McDonald, Jamie Mullins, Daniel Stewart. Round out your top 10 as we are re-racked, restacked, ready to refire here at Talladega. And again, Tracy Passons, your leader, is going to take the inside, hoping for that big shove from Joshua Thompson again. Looks like there's only going to be 11 trucks on the lead lap, battling this out here for the win, as Adam Lang is currently still on pit road. You see Adam here trying to get that truck fixed up and hopefully get a respectable finishing position here, but he is actually, Andy Kurtz is currently the last truck on the lead lap, and Andy has caught the field here, and he was our lucky dog. So he's going to be the last truck on the lead lap. So just 12 trucks here to decide it. And I do apologize. I just looked up there, and Kurtz is actually a lap down, and it looks like Lang's going to go a lap down, so it will be just 11 trucks here to decide it here at Talladega as the pace truck takes that left-hand turn. Paul Paston says, keep it up, Tracy. Tracy Paston is going to lead him down to the starting zone. Green flag is back in the air. We are back racing here at Talladega. And a pretty even side-by-side start for Passons and Fry Hubbard, as Hubbard now falls back, doesn't have the push. Josh Thompson with the big shove on Passons here to move him out into the lead solidly. Fry Hubbard, though, starting to fat back on that high side as he's getting a big shove from the 04 Cossack. Steve Loving right there on the back bumper of Josh Thompson, trying to make that bottom lane move. But Fry Hubbard just out ahead of Tracy Passons as they go into turn number 3. Now that bottom lane's really got the momentum as they come through turns 3 and 4, as Cossack was way off the back bumper. Here comes Jimmy Burrell here as well, trying to make something happen. As Stewart pulls off here, that's going to allow just the top 6 to fight it out, as we got another taker. Steve McDonald up on that high side, trying to make that high lane work a little bit better. White flag is in the air. Tracy Passons, Fry Hubbard side by side. Josh Thompson out of fuel. Josh Thompson is out of fuel. He is falling back. That's going to allow Fry Hubbard to get up in front of Tracy Passons. And now Kostic with Jamie Burrell got the big run on the high side as they're able to push on forward here as it's going to be a battle. Kosick now has the lead. Barol trying to get by. They're 3 wide. Here comes Steve Loving up the middle. Trying to get around Stacey Passes there. 3 wide. Into turn number 3. Kosick to the lead. Jay Barol, Fry Hubbard battling for a second. Here comes Passons back up to the back bumper of Hubbard. Loving trying to get a little bump there from Passons. Gets Fry Hubbard out of whack there. Here comes Loving. Loving is now behind Josh Barol. Here comes big move down to the bottom as Fry Hubbard's going to use the apron here to make a pass as to the line. Barol is going to get the win. Steve McDonald is going to come home in second. Steve Loving in third. And what a move by McDonald, running last, coming to the green flag. Ends up coming home in second. And that's just how fast things can happen here. But Jamie Barol gets the win, being patient, making his way up through the field here at the end to take the win. And that was exciting, and hopefully the second race lives up to the same excitement that we just saw in this first race. Adam Veith was saying, bring her home, Tracy, come on. And Tracy comes up just a little bit short. Comes home in 8th. But your winner tonight, Jamie Barol, going to go celebrate here on the front stretch. Steve Loving also up here along with Steve McDonald. So the top 3 going to come post for a picture up here, I think, or all 3 of them are going to go burn out here at the start-finish line. And we're about to have our... waiting for the field to come around for your typical Rebels Demolition Derby celebration. Got a couple trucks still on track. I don't think anybody's going to come around to hit Barol here. So we'll take a look at your results. Oh, got one car trying to come down for the Demolition Derby, but nobody else. But Jerry Barol will be your winner. Steve McDonald, Steve Loving come home second and third. Jamie Mullins in fourth. There's a little bit of contact back there. You see one truck on its roof. Michael Kosick comes home fifth. Fry Hubbard falls all the way back to sixth. Daniel Stewart, Tracy Passons, Matt Kleeman, and Joshua Thompson, who ran out of fuel coming down the backstretch, is going to round out in 10th. Andy Kurtz, first car, one last down in 11th. Chris McLean, Ryan Derrick, Greg Froelich, and Charlie Gates Jr. make up the top 15 with Adam Lang, Eddie Smith, James Jones, Jonah Colbert, and Michael Swink rounding out the top 20. Ryan Huff, Bryn Pollock, Travis Bieber, Mike Barossa Jr., Eric Burkhalter, and Jake the Ironman Ellingson are going to round out your field tonight. But let's see if we can talk to our top 3, starting with our third place finisher, Steve Loving. And let me just get my stuff up on the screen here. Oh. Let's bring in our third place finisher, Steve Loving. Steve, Steve, you got Josh in the booth. You got me? Steve, you got Josh up in the booth. You got me?
Hey, Josh, what's going on, man?
Man, not too much. Great finish. Coming home in third tonight. I know most of the night you're kind of hanging out to the back. Had that great save when you get a little contact in that last big run and able to come, the big one, and able to come home in third. That last wreck though, where you got a little clip there in the right rear, that kind of startled you. Kind of think it was all for naught there, trying to race up there and almost get taken out.
Yeah, I was trying to avoid everything. Just keep the car, truck, whatever it is, safe, and really just keep it to the last 10 laps. So just want to make sure I had enough gas for a green-white checker or two, and just be in a good spot for a restart and just run it out.
Yeah, for sure. And it looked like a couple trucks were running out of fuel there on the last lap. I believe Josh Thompson ran out of fuel. I believe Fry Hubbard was really close. How close were you on fuel there at the end?
So on the last caution, I pit and went ahead and filled up. And then since I wanted to stay in the back of the pack on the last lap, I filled up again. So I had about 23 laps left. Everybody else was running on fumes. So I had no issues on gas. I knew one or two would probably run out of gas in front of me. So I was trying to keep some space with about 2 laps to go in case that happened, so I wouldn't just bury into them.
Got to get my bite in there for sure, man. And great finish there, coming home third. That's gonna be a good points day for you tonight. As Tracy kind of fell back to eighth there at the end, and I know points are being tight there at the front. Before I let you go, anybody you want to thank? Any shout outs you got to give here?
Yeah. First, my team, JC Motorsports. Also, shout out to Stephen McDonald. Him and I worked together most of the night trying to play it safe and stay together in a draft. And the last lap, him and I were banging doors a little bit, but we both held a good solid line. Series sponsor, Manza Motorsports, Shappy Edits, Kinder Farm and Ranch, Smeel Racing Designs. There's a whole bunch of others. And of course, you guys for the wonderful broadcast.
We appreciate the kind words. And again, getting a little more padding onto your points lead here has got to feel pretty good. And I'm sure we'll talk to you again next week.
All right. Thanks a lot.
So that was your second place finisher, or sorry, third place finisher, Steve Loving. Let's bring in Steve McDonald. Steve, you got Josh up in the booth. You got me?
Oh, yeah.
Man, great job tonight coming home in second. You were kind of started the tail of that last pack there, coming to the green for the green white checker, and got yourself up to second, giving Steve Loving a big push. How were you able to get there to the front there at the end, and how close on fuel were you there at the end?
Oh, I had plenty of fuel. I was just riding in the back, waiting till the end. And Steve done a real good job. We worked real good together.
For sure. And coming to that last green white checker, is that kind of where you wanted to be in the back in case something happened, or did you want to kind of work your way up to the front and be there at the end?
I just want to take my time and be there at the end.
Awesome job tonight coming home with the second place finish. Anybody want to thank? Any shout outs you got to give tonight before we let you go?
Oh, yeah, I want to thank Metal Sports and Shapey Edits and Kinder Farm and Ranch and Smear Racing Design and Magic Mike and Seth Griffith and Peg Leg Phelps and P&J Motorsports and E-Racing TV and of course, y'all at Intensity Broadcasting.
Thank you, Steve. We appreciate the kind words. And again, congratulations on the second place finish. And as the season goes on, I'm sure we'll be talking to you again soon.
Thank you. Y'all have a good night.
That was our second place finisher, Steve McDonald. Let's bring in your winner tonight, Jeremy Burrell. Jeremy, you got Josh up in the booth. You got me?
I got you.
Man, hell of a job coming home with the win tonight. A lot of attrition, a lot of big ones coming out of this race tonight, but you're able to put yourself in a position to get the win. And those last two runs that you had there at the end are mighty fine. I mean, it was some good moves on your end, some great pushing. And were you expecting the aggressive moves to pay off there at the end, or was it kind of just luck to be there tonight?
Well, I like to listen to, or I like to use the old Dale Jr. mantra when it comes to speedway racing. Just be in the pack and know what the pack's doing and know what the drivers are doing, so you can have an idea for the end of the race if you're still up there, and just make aggressive moves. That's all I was doing really to stay in it.
Yeah, for sure. And myself being a bit of a super speedway connoisseur, if you will, I said right at the beginning of the broadcast, in order to win the race tonight, you're going to have to play chess while everyone else is playing checkers. And it seemed like that's what you were kind of doing, kind of just hanging out there. At the beginning of the race, you were right there at the front, and then kind of the middle of the race, you kind of hung back, stayed out of trouble, and was there at the end. I got to ask, though, how close were you on fuel at the end there? I know there was a couple of drivers who were running out around fumes.
I think it wasn't the last caution, but the caution before that, I pitted and I filled up my tank so I wouldn't have to worry about it. But I know a lot of those guys even were saying over race comms that they were pretty much out when the final restart came around. So I was like, yes, we're gonna do it.
Yeah, I think Josh Thompson ran out of fuel there coming off of turn number 2, and I believe looked like Fry Hubbard might have been out of fuel there as well towards the end. But a great job coming home with the win tonight. Before we let you go, anybody you want to thank? Any shout outs you got to give?
Yeah, I want to thank my sponsor, John Smeel at Smeel Racing Designs. Him and his wife, they've been behind me for the past 8-9 months. It's great to have them. Sucks that he missed the race tonight. He just moved and couldn't get his Wi-Fi up in time, but hopefully he's back next week.
For sure, man. And good points night for you again. You were coming in 9th in points. That's going to move you up the ladder quite a bit, I believe, as a couple of the names in front of you had some real big problems. So, again, congratulations on the win. I'm sure as the season goes on, we'll talk to you again soon.
All righty. Thanks, Josh.
So that was your winner tonight, Jamie Barol, getting the win here at Talladega, using some strategy to get himself there at the end. I do want to mention that he was Steve McDonald, our second place finisher, was also our Ray Cobb Hard Charger Award. Forgot to mention that there, but coming up through the field, making up 23 spots to get that position here. Come home second. Jerry Barol, 21 spots to come in with the win. So congratulations to everybody here, all our podium finishers, and stick around as we'll be coming back here in about 10-15 minutes time for our second race of the doubleheaders. You're not going to want to miss that. So again, join us here at Intensity Broadcasting. If this is the only one you're watching tonight, we thank you for joining us here tonight. Don't forget to like, follow, and subscribe. Follow us on Twitter at Intensity Broad 1. Don't forget to download eRacing TV on your Fire Stick or your Roku so you can watch live iRacing 7 nights a week right there on the big screen. And again, join us in just a few for our second race of the doubleheader. But as our boy Atlee Atman would say,